Promises and pressures. What kept the presidents from staying true to their word.
A Hilborn Crafts production. Presidents of the 20th and 21st century were good, hard-working, and idealistic men. They entered office with big plans, but they were unable to keep these plans due to pressures from all sides. Woodrow Wilson was re-elected in 1916 with the platform that he kept America out of the Great War. He reiterated this idea during his inaugural speech.
We stand firm in armed neutrality.
Just 1 month later, however, Wilson told Congress,
Neutrality is no longer feasible.
And
I advise Congress to employ all its measures to bring the government off the German Empire to terms and end the war.
Why the sudden change in ideas? Simple. The seas are unsafe because German ships continually sunk merchant and passenger ships, no matter the political views of their country. Wilson entered the country into World War I, which led into World War II. Harry S. Truman took office April 1945 with the death of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He ended World War II and started the Cold War, a war which pitted communists against the ideals of democracy that the United States held dear. He was re-elected, and at his inauguration, he listed the differences between the two ideas.
Communism subjects the individual to arrest without lawful cause, punishment without trial, and forced labor as the chattel of the state. It decrees what information he shall receive, what art he shall produce, what leaders he shall follow, and what thoughts he shall think.
Yet under Truman, countless men and women were accused, arrested, tried, and denied basic rights for being perceived communists, with Joseph McCarthy and the McCarran Internal Security Act, which said,
It shall be unlawful to conceal the fact that he is a member of a communist organization, to hold any non-elective office or employment, to make application for a passport, to use or attempt any such use of a passport.
Why would Truman allow cruelty towards perceived communists within the United States while condemning communist cruelty outside of the United States? Pressure from fearful citizens made the government persecute communists within their own country. Fear of communism led to the buildup of nuclear weapons in a period of Cold War strategy called deterrence. John F. Kennedy took presidency during this time. He was elected in 1960. In his inauguration speech, he promised a more open approach to the communist nations, keeping the United States paralyzed.
So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate.
Negotiation, however, did not seem to be in the plan during the Bay of Pigs invasion, a United States coordinated revolution against Fidel Castro. As published by the Taylor Committee of Investigation,
the brigade would exercise the so-called guerrilla options to join the anti-Castro dissidents.
Why would John F. Kennedy go directly against his negotiation strategy? The president before him, Eisenhower, had left the presidency with the Bay of Pigs plan already in order and set to run. All John F. Kennedy had to do was nod his head in agreement. The CIA pressured him to do so because the plan was already in place and was ready to go. Following John F. Kennedy was a period known as détente, in which the United States negotiated and worked with communist nations. Ronald Reagan took office in 1981. He promised to dial back government spending and size.
So as we begin, let us take into inventory. We are a nation that has a government, not the other way around. And this makes us special among the nations of the earth. And government has no power except that granted it by the people. It is time to check and reverse the growth of government, which shows signs of having grown beyond the consent of the governed.
As demonstrated by this graph, however, spending almost doubled during Reagan's presidency. Why did this happen? Reagan was a Republican president, but his views were not supported by his Democrat Congress. In order to pass any laws into action, he needed to negotiate and cooperate with the Democrat Congress. Reagan was able to end the Cold War with the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the United States economy felt relative stability until 2070 when the economy took a turn for the worse. Barack Obama took office in 2009 with the economy in the hole. He promised to solve this by
we'll restore science to its rightful place and wield technology's wonders to raise healthcare's quality and lower its cost. We will harness the sun and winds and the soil to fuel our cars and run our factories. And we will transform our schools and colleges and universities to meet the demands of a new age.
An oil pipeline was proposed which would connect Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. This pipeline would create jobs and stimulate new technologies. However, Obama responded,
we can't simply drill our way out of the problem.
Why would he turn down a seemingly perfect plan? He did this because of pressure from environmentalists. They said that the creation of this pipeline would put more dirty chemicals into the already polluted air. Presidents at all time within the United States of America have entered their office with giant plans for their country. Many have had to bow to the pressures of the economy, other countries, or other politicians. This is not something bad, however. This is a trait that all presidents should strive to have. Flexibility is what keeps the United States resilient and is what helps the United States get out of the bad times and into the good times.